Hello and welcome to another video here on my channel. Today we're going to be talking about making food for others. I was having a conversation with someone on Instagram who was finding this incredibly challenging, where they had to make different meals for their family and they were having issues with cravings and timing and all of that. So I wanted to go over some quick tips that you can do if you are in the same situation. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Thank you again, as always, for joining me here on my YouTube channel. I truly appreciate you spending time with me. And before we begin, we've got 40% off any or all of our raw vegan recipe ebooks. The code is rawfood40 at checkout, and you can enjoy our wraps. The wraps are great to take camping or hiking, on road trips, for work, for school, for the family, because I've had so many people say that their kids are asking for the wraps, that their spouses are asking to make them for lunch. So these are very popular. If the subject of this video interests you, these are great things to also make for your family. They have been very popular. But if you're looking for burgers or soups, stews, curries, chilies, these kinds of things, appetizers that you can share with your family, or if you're looking for meal plans yourself, new salad recipes or smoothie recipes, these are all available to you in our ebooks. Across all our ebooks, we have over 700 recipes, and the code again is rawfood40. Use it at checkout and you get 40% off any or all of the ebooks that you purchase. So head over there, the link is in the description box below. Today we're going to be talking about making stuff for your family when you are trying to add more raw food to your diet and they are not. So what do you do if you're making food for family? Number one, and this has to deal with the craving aspect, because a lot of people will be making food for their family after they've been at work or after a long day and they're hungry as well. So they tend to want to eat the foods that they're making their family, and they may not want to. That might not be part of their new habits that they're trying to create or the goals that they have for their health. So it's really tempting when you're hungry. So my number one tip is to make your food first. And I know that might seem a little selfish to some people, but it's not actually, because if you make your food first, number one, you can chop extra vegetables to use in their meal. So that's bonus for them, adding more fiber into their diet because you love them, so you want them to eat healthier. So chopping extra while you're chopping your salad for dinner, for example, then you can use some of those vegetables in their meal. And the other bonus to this is that you can start eating your food while you are cooking food for your family. That way, your mouth is busy and you're fueling up. Plus, usually those big salads take a little longer than everyone else to eat, so you might as well get a head start. So make your salad first and then start working on their food, because that way you can keep your mouth busy, you can fuel up, you can feel good because you're not making their food in a hungry state, and you are going to be a lot more successful in that as well. Which goes into point number two, is to find recipes that work well with your recipe. For example, say you wanted to have a marinara on zucchini noodles with some meatballs, for example. You could make the meatballs in advance, and you could make extra meatballs that you could technically cook, because you can always cook raw food for your family and friends if that's what they want. But if you're making the meatballs, you could make a double batch or a triple batch of the marinara, and you can always heat the marinara and then just make the pasta for them. So it's not as much extra work, because you're doing the zoodles or cucumber noodles for yourself, and while you're boiling the pasta, and you're making the same marinara. It's basically just marinara, but you heat it up with the pasta for the rest of the family, and you have the raw version on your zucchini noodles. So this is a kind of a way to incorporate things into your family meals. Another great example is chili. Say you wanted to have a raw chili. You could technically make the raw chili And if your family member wanted other things in it, like say cubed tofu or whatever it is they wanted to add to it, you could still make a double, triple batch of the raw chili. And then for theirs, you could add their portion into a pan or a pot, and you could add the tofu or beans or whatever else they wanted to add to the chili. And you could also bake a sweet potato that they could have on the side. And then you can have your raw chili and they can have a raw/cooked version of it. And that way you're not making two completely separate meals. You can kind of combine the two together. Another thing is a salad. If you're making a big gigantic salad for yourself, chop extra and then have little salads for your family on the side along with whatever cooked meal that you're making for them as well. So that's another tip, is to kind of streamline it so you're not making two separate meals, because that can take a lot extra time. The third tip is to communicate. It's super important to communicate with your family members. Explain to them the challenges that you're having by creating two separate meals, and ask them if there's a way that you can both compromise so that you can enjoy your raw meal while they still have cooked, or they have some raw and cooked, and everyone's happy. That's really what it's all about. It's making everyone happy, including you. It's not just about them, it's about you too. You need that as well. So communicating is key, and also asking for help, because it should not be all on your shoulders. You can ask your family to help you chop. If they're old enough, the kids can wash the vegetables. Whatever it is that they can do to help you get dinner ready is going to be helpful, obviously. If someone needs to go to the grocery store while you're at home making certain things, have that happen. So communicate any help that you might need in the kitchen. Plus, it's a bonus when you have the kids helping you in the kitchen. It teaches them food prep. It teaches them where their food's coming from. They're not just getting served every day. They are part of the creation. And also ask them what they would like, because a lot of times when they choose what they want, they're more involved in it. And when they're washing the food or turning on the blender, or if they're old enough, chopping the vegetables, that gets them in connection with their food. And that's a very, very valuable thing for the youth. We need them to be in more connection with their food and where their food comes from, and teaching them the benefits of certain things and telling them stories about the foods. Get them excited about it and help you out in the kitchen, and then obviously express how grateful you are for their help, because that's really important too. Let them know how much you appreciate them helping you in the kitchen, and play some music and have some fun. This is family time for you to enjoy with them. Then you want to also ask them what recipes they might be interested in. Get into it with them. Share pictures and say, would you like if I made that for dinner? How would you like this? What if we made this with this? Would you like that? And try to find some favorites, because once you find some favorites, stick with the favorites, because at least they're enjoying those and it's really helpful for you. But explore with them instead of just choosing something and hoping that they like it, because they're eating too. So if they have a say in it, like I mentioned, they're going to be more likely to embrace it. But one of the big ones that we talked about earlier was the wraps, and I've had so many people message me grateful for the wraps because their family has been loving them. So finding things that your family loves and then sticking with them can be so helpful when you are trying to change your diet over while making food for others as well. And finally is realizing within yourself that you are making this choice for you. And that is the most important thing. A lot of people feel like either their choice or their family's choice is an inconvenience. It's not an inconvenience. That is a negative pattern that can create a lot of resentment and stress during mealtime, because you might not want to be making that cooked food, or you wish you had more time, and that just causes a lot of stress. Whereas if you think of the meal that you're making for your family as a gift, a loving action to your family, and you think of your salad that you have to make separately as a gift to yourself, and even though it might take a little extra time, hopefully your family can help you out a little there, but even if it takes a little extra time, that is time that you're taking to have self-love and to show your family love. This is time that you're spending to show love. And that can really help to shift the mindset. Again, put on some music, put on an audio book, or listen to a podcast or a YouTube video or something, just to have that special time for yourself. This can be you time. Food prep can be very meditative if you want it to be. If your intention going in is to enjoy the food prep process, that can be really helpful as well. Something that I have found helpful for myself is after a really long day of work, sometimes I'm just like everyone else. I don't want to make food. Sometimes I like to make food in the morning so I don't have to at night. But other days I have to make a salad too, and sometimes I just don't want to. But I found that just going into the kitchen and opening the fridge and grabbing a head of lettuce, just that act alone starts to snowball the process. And then I'm into it and then I enjoy it. But it's that initial act of going into the kitchen and opening the fridge door, because we feel so overwhelmed. We're like, this is gonna take 45 minutes to make all of this stuff or whatever. And you feel so overwhelmed, you just don't want to do anything. And that's why a lot of people end up ordering takeout, because they just don't want to do all the prep work. But if you just think of the prep work as going in the kitchen, opening the fridge, and grabbing a head of lettuce, those are the only three things that you have to do. Once you do that, it snowballs the effect. Now that you have the lettuce, you're like, well, I might as well chop it. So you chop it up. And then you're into the routine, and then you're like, this isn't so bad. This only took 15 minutes. We're good. So that's a little tip or trick that you can use as well if you're not feeling motivated to get into the kitchen. Just go into the kitchen. That's really all. Just first step, go into the kitchen. Once you're there, open the fridge. Once you open the fridge, just grab something, whether it's a head of lettuce or a bell pepper or whatever it is. Just grab something and then get it on the counter and then start, like, okay, I'm here. This isn't so bad. Put on some music and enjoy the process. So hopefully this video helped somebody out there. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to support us, if you want to support yourself by adding more raw food to your diet, go check out our ebooks. We have over 700 recipes for awesome things like wraps that you can take hiking and camping, traveling and road trips, or for work or school, or just because they're so delicious. There's burgers and tacos. There's so many different kinds of taco meats and salsas and stuff that you can make. Meal plans full of salads that you can make for lunch and for dinner, creamy dressings, low-fat dressings, tons of content for you to be able to find and explore more raw food that you can add to your diet. And remember, it's not about being pure and perfect 100%. It's about adding more raw to your diet, however that looks for you. And the more raw you add, the better. So just start adding more raw food to your diet, but you can get 40% off any or all of our recipe ebooks with code RAWFOOD40. The link is in the description box below or here on the screen, so go check that out. And if you like this video, please click like. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until the next video, I love you all so much, as always, and fruit on.